Dude,
You're
what?
in my spot.
What?
What?
Dude, this man's a giant.
How much of my head is cut off?
I can't.
I'm taller.
Score! Which way so Paul goes?
Which way? What do we have big? I've never been up this high before.
It's very
This
nice.
is such a big Chungus moment.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to your favorite show for all things gaming and rarely tech related, Gentoo. I'm Evan, I'm in Garrett Bevans.
Wait, am I Gabe or Jonas?
Jonas.
And I'm Jonas Pelot. Thanks for watching this week at Gentoo. This is a totally normal episode with totally normal hosts. So let's check out what games are releasing this week.
Welcome to the Zompocalypse. I hate to tell you, but you picked the wrong time to come to town. Bet you thought your world was in chaos, didn't ya?
In Dead Island 2, Los Angeles is in quarantine, and the military have retreated. Only you and the handful of others who happen to be resistant to the pathogen hold the future of the city and humanity in the balance. Dead Island 2 is stylish, vibrant, and flooded with zombie infection. Explore iconic, gore-drenched Los Angeles, meet larger-than-life characters, slay countless foes in exquisite bloody detail, and evolve to become the ultimate zombie slayer. Dead Island 2 releases on April 21st for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox consoles.
Behind every brilliant invention hides an incredible story. From the members of the team that brought you Fable comes 10 Hearts, an immersive puzzle adventure game wrapped in a powerful tale of love and compromise. Guide a troop of mischievous 10 soldiers through a magical toy-filled world using a variety of whimsical and innovative contraptions to bounce, shoot, and glide to get them to their goals. 10 Hearts releases on April 20th for Switch.
Those sounded like some awesome games. So now, let's check out some other gaming news.
Hey!
What?
You're in my spot, bro.
No, I'm Jonas.
No, I'm Jonas.
Oh, hey, Jonas.
Oh, hey, what's up, Garrett Bevans?
Yeah, it's me, Garrett Bevans.
Yeah, Garrett Bevans. Everybody knows that.
Those sounded like some awesome games. So now, let's check out some other gaming news.
This year has been quite the hit for gamers, getting a lot of movies and shows that have turned out fairly decent, unlike many in the past. One that was announced years ago that fans have been very eager about is Five Nights at Freddy's movie, being produced by the production company Blumhouse. The official release date for the movie has finally been announced and is coming to theaters this year on October 27th.
Fans are hopeful that despite the years of struggles, changes, and rewrites, that the movie will live up to their expectations with its star-studded cast. There hasn't been a trailer released, but some sets and filming spots have been found by fans who are eager to see anything related to the film.
The official synopsis for the movie reads, the film follows a troubled security guard as he begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While spending his first night on the job, he realizes the night shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. The hype only keeps building as more information is released.
And that's all we got right now for news. Make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to not miss our future episodes.
Let's check out this week's packs.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Digital Digestion. Today, we dive into a cop whose life soon falls apart as a deadly outbreak makes the world a living nightmare. Today, we have Leon Kennedy from the Resident Evil franchise. Leon was once a wide-eyed cadet for the Raccoon City Police Department. Of course, when a sketchy pharmaceutical company called Umbrella released a viral outbreak making the residents of Raccoon City turn into victims of a zombie outbreak, things soonly go downhill for Leon. After luckily surviving the outbreak, Leon still has some bad luck, as he is soon apprehended by the US government. From there, he was forced to be working for the Division of Security Operations, which is ran by the president himself, which is kind of a more secret counterterrorism unit. Despite all the atrocities around him, Leon is unironically a pretty funny character. If you look at him in the original games, he's almost like a B-movie hero like in the Evil Dead movie franchise. With all of his dorky quirks and one-liners, he sometimes isn't taken very serious.
Groovy.
Part of your crappy script.
I've been expecting you, my brethren.
No thanks, bro.
However, with the remasters of the game, you can totally see that Leon is in fact a fish out of water. His dorky lines don't really come around anymore, and he's more taken serious as a character.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Leon himself is also a very skilled individual. Of course, his training wasn't just given to him. For instance, in the Resident Evil 2 remake, Leon only has his trusty police training to help save him. It does the job for the most part, but he isn't the super agent that we know quite yet. In Resident Evil 4, Leon finally kicks it into high gear. His special training thanks to the US government has made him a deadly zombie killer. Of course, Leon constantly finds himself in tough spots. With everything that he's endured from Raccoon City, saving the president's daughter, and fighting countless monsters in games and movies as well, what is the point of fighting? All the horrors and death around him would obviously take a toll on any individual. However, his fate is unknown. The last we hear and see of Leon is in the helicopter in a Resident Evil film. However, his story is still ongoing as new games and TV shows as well as movies are constantly announced. Leon's story is still ongoing. That does it for this week of Digital Digestion, and that was Leon Kennedy from the Resident Evil franchise. Make sure to join us next week for our highlight episode. I'll see you guys then.
Biggest scene is over.
I don't ever remember being a part of your crappy script.
Unlike other organizations on and around campus, here, the students do it all.
KNWT is a student-run and student-produced television station.
To support this content, you can go to our YouTube channel at KNWT Channel 8.
And watch the latest shows or even enjoy blasts from the past.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News.
Hey guys, we're filming behind the scenes for Creative Services. Come check it out. Here with Creative Services, our job is to promote KNWT, give you an in-depth look at our crew members, and shoot behind the scenes of all your favorite shows.
This is KNWT.
And we are
Creative Services.
Jonas, I'm feeling a little parched.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna grab a water.
All right, yeah, I'll be right here, Garrett. Yeah. Garrett. Garrett.
What's up? Hey, Jonas.
Dude,
what's up?
you have to come back to filming like right now. There's this guy
Wait,
here
why?
There's this guy here. He's pretending to be you. He's calling himself Garrett Bevans. Like he's
Okay.
Garrett Bevans. Like he keeps telling everybody that he's Garrett. I'm really starting to think that he's not you.
That's kind of
Jonas.
creepy.
Oh, hey, yeah. What's up, Garrett Bevans?
We have a show to film.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, I'm just talking to my grandpa. What's up,
Your grandpa?
What's up, Sonny? How's your friend?
Oh, he's just doing just fine. You know what? I love you, Grandpa. See you later. Oh, thank you.
Back to filming.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get right back into it.
My name is Gabriel Lozano, and welcome back to 10 out of 10, where we go over some of the best video games that are truly 10 out of 10s. Today, we're going to be looking at Terraria. When you first load into Terraria, you create your own character in your very own unique world that will be different each time you make a new one. Once you get into your 2D pixelated world, the game doesn't give you a lot of hints on what to do. The guide that spawns in with you can give you some pointers, but it's really up to you to figure out what to do next. As you run around, you'll have to fight your way through the vast number of enemies to find different chests and pieces of loot scattered throughout your world. This loot will help you make your character more powerful and even build up your very own base to get farther in the game. Making a base is a crucial aspect of this game that will help you progress. As you start to add more rooms onto your base, NPCs will begin to move in. Each one of these NPCs are different, and they each have their own role that will help you on your journey. Some of them will help you heal your wounds, allow you to sell unwanted items, and even allow you to buy new weapons. Even at the late stages of the game, you'll keep encountering more NPCs that will encourage you to constantly expand your base and spend way too much time making sure your base looks as cool as possible. As you continue to become stronger, you'll finally realize that the goal of Terraria is to defeat all the bosses in the game. And that might not seem like a hard task, but believe me, the number of bosses in this game will have you questioning how long you've been playing. Each boss fight in the game feels completely different. If it's from the way they look, or the different attacks each of them do, you always want to move on to the next boss after defeating one. As you get further to the end of the game, the bosses continuously get harder, but each one will have more powerful gear to acquire once you defeat them. Because their loot isn't always guaranteed, it encourages you to go back and fight them again to see what new items you'll get for defeating them a second time around. On top of the cool weapons and clothing you can acquire, defeating bosses can allow new things to happen in your world, such as spawning new ore, or maybe allowing new enemies to spawn. I always looked forward to seeing what the next boss was and the new things I would discover once I defeated one. Terraria can be played alone, but where it really shines is when you play with a friend. Playing with friends is such a great aspect of Terraria that can make the game so much more fun. You can trade with your friends, they can help you defeat a boss you've been stuck on, or maybe they could just help you expand your base. Terraria allows 8 other players to join your game, which can be a big help when the entire world is out to get you. I can't stress enough how many different enemies there are in this game. Many video games today have a problem with always reusing enemy models, but in Terraria, you won't find this problem. In the game menu, you can find the bestiary, and it allows you to keep track of all the different enemies and NPCs you've encountered throughout your playthrough. It also gives you an insight on what that enemy or NPC is. Because of Terraria's fun gameplay, amazing boss fights, and such a vast variety of enemies, it's no question why this game is truly a 10 out of 10.
Hello, my name is Evan, and welcome back to The Price is Free, the show where I show you a fun, free-to-play game. This week, we are talking about Dying Light, an open-world zombie game with an in-depth parkour system. There are a multitude of characters that you're introduced from Raheem and Jade, who are some of the leaders in the tower, which is the home base for all your operation. Rise is the main antagonist that you have to face throughout the entire story of the game. But in a weird turn of events, you also have to work for him, because he has the only solution to help with the zombie infection to help hold it off. That solution is Anticin, a medicine that keeps people from turning into zombies, but if they do not have a constant source to use, then they will turn sooner or later. The only way to get Anticin is by getting the airdrops from the GRE, but Rise's goons always steal those drops from the tower, hoarding them and having a monopoly over the slums. The gameplay is where the true fun of the game shines through. Being able to dropkick zombies off rooftops, blow up hordes with explosives, or using traps to set up around the slums to give you the edge. Parkour is just a blast all around, especially when you get into the flow, hopping from rooftop and rooftop, and weaving between infected, keeping your momentum. It can be frustrating at times though, especially when you're getting swarmed by virals, which are the infected that are able to chase you up the buildings and also do parkour, messing up your rhythm and setting in massive amounts of panic. I don't have many complaints about this game. Running into bugs turns out to be more fun than it is aggravating. It even seems rewarding when finding them. The only problems I have is that the story is just average, and the side missions are just a different assortment of fetch quests. Most of the combat will be in close quarters, using various types of blunt weapons and bladed weapons. Blueprints for weapons are ways that you can get the edge. For example, using electricity to stun multiple zombies, or equipping weapon mods to increase damage or durability for the weapons that you prefer to use. But you have to use them sparingly, because after the weapon breaks, then any mods you had equipped on it are lost. There are also firearms that you can get, like a pistol or a rifle, which are way stronger than the melee weapons, but cause a lot of noise. So if the guns are used too much, then it'll start to attract stronger types of zombies, so you don't always want to use your gun. Dying Light is known for its Easter eggs also, from weapons referencing devs to whole levels being made in reference to other games, like the Super Mario Bros. Easter egg that is a complete recreation of the first level from the Super Mario Bros., but in first person. It's nothing major, but just seeing all these Easter eggs sprinkled throughout the game shows just how much love was put into it. You can actually get 2 amazing weapons straight out of the prologue, the EXP Caliber and the Korok Machete, but they have a fun little gimmick to it. To obtain the EXP Caliber, you have to swim out to a rock in the middle of the ocean, and then you have to hold the sword for 2 minutes to get it. The Korok Machete is easier, only being on the rooftop of a building that you have to parkour up, but you have to kick the box in it 75 times to actually open it. Thank you for tuning in this week for The Price is Free. Make sure to grab Dying Light on the Epic Store before its free week is up. Check in next week for the last pack of the semester, because it's sure to be a sad one. See you guys and gals later. Peace out.
Welcome back to Mustard's Monthly Mayhem, where this week is our final regular week of reviews. The game that gets to have the honor of being the last review is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. The story behind the game is to stop the evil Vex from creating a device that will change your character's homeland from a land of pure imagination into a realm of nightmares. Sackboy reminds me a lot of a simpler version of Mario, with the goal of making a fun and easy game for kids to enjoy, but one that adults can play too. This is not saying that the game is going to be a walkthrough for everyone, as there is a lot to do on each level. With each level, you have goals to complete, a score to beat, and blue orbs to collect. Rewards for completing the levels are called bells, and these bells are spent as Zoom Zooms on cosmetics. I like that the game provides the currency that can be used to unlock new outfits in all the levels and not just behind a paywall. This gives you more of an incentive to complete all the goals and beat the set score to get max rewards. One of the things that I didn't like about this game is that there is no health bar, and while it is easy to avoid taking damage in the first place, when you eventually do, there is no indication of how many more hits you can take. If you end up taking too much damage or falling off the map, you will respawn at the previous checkpoint with full health, but you will lose one of your 4 lives. One thing that really sets this game apart from the others is the music choices. On one specific level called Trouble in Paradise, as the platform rises, you start to hear a familiar song that will accompany you throughout the level. Uptown Funk by Maroon 5 plays throughout the level, and the entire scene will move to that beat. After you complete all the main missions in each world, you can progress to the next one, unlocking more side quests. These side quests, while optional, add a lot of fun to the game, with remix races, knitted night trials, or collectible stages.
Time is almost gone.
With over 90 levels and optional multiplayer settings, this game can keep you busy for 10 hours of play through the main missions and upwards of 30 hours to get 100% completion. I really enjoyed the laid-back style of this game that is somewhat reminiscent of one of my favorite childhood games in Mario. With all that being said, I believe this game deserves a 9 out of 10, and if you have the chance to try it out, you won't be disappointed. That'll do it for this week's episode of Mustard's Monthly Mayhem. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't forget to tune into next week's episode of Gentoo, where we will have a special highlight episode.
KNWT for Hire is all about sharing a story, a message, and connecting the community. We cover a multitude of events, both within the university and Maryville. We roll in, we set up, and we capture. We're here to offer an experience, not only for those present, but for all.
Nerd Central is the place to be for all your nerdy entertainment, right here on KNWT Channel 8.
Hello, this is Gabe Chadwick with RPGeeks, where we look at some of the greatest RPGs of all time and look at what is good about them and what may be below average. Today, we're looking at Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, like a big fan. When Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced, I was hooked. The original Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game that is timeless and everybody should play it. Final Fantasy VII Remake, however, is a little different. To start out positively, the game looks gorgeous. When the game dropped, it was the best looking game at the time, which allowed fans to easily immerse themselves into the world and characters, which is great because the original Final Fantasy VII was made in 1997, which is important because the remake came out in 2020, which means that the original Final Fantasy is old enough to be at your local bar. So the most important aspect was to get the fans back into the world, which it did flawlessly. Which comes to my biggest complaint about the game. Final Fantasy has always been confusing, and the stories, if written on a piece of paper, would be a confusing mess, and Final Fantasy VII is no different. But to simplify it, it's about a man who must learn to cope with his past and fight his trauma to accept help. But the remake loosely follows this storyline, which is all great, but the remake advertises itself as a game for the next generation of Final Fantasy VII fans, but it's anything but. To understand the remake, you must understand the original story of Final Fantasy VII. A good way to show this is with the main villain Sephiroth. In the remake, he shows up every other scene without being introduced, but in the original, he's only in the game for like 5 minutes and is slowly built up. The other way the story diverges from the original is with the introduction of Whispers, which in all honesty are terrible at their job. They are no joke plot ghosts that make sure the game plays out as the original. The game gets pretty meta at points, which is awesome, if you play the original, so it's an amazing sequel to a game. It's not a remaster or a remake, it's a completely different game and should be treated that way. But overall, it's a great time and an amazing experience that looks back at some of the biggest highlights in gaming and allows for some incredible moments all on its own. It continues one of the best stories in gaming and deserves much praise. But the way that it was advertised and promoted was a huge flaw that I think is something that should be taken into account in the future. Thanks for tuning in to RPGeeks and Gentoo. Make sure to like and subscribe and tune in next week to look at some of the best moments in RPGeeks and Gentoo.
Welcome back to Indiana Jonas. I'm your host, Jonas Pelot. Today, we're getting into Muck, a chaotic multiplayer survival game. So let's get cracking.
Oh, I'm bad, and then immediately gets one shot by it. I haven't played this game!
Welcome to Muck, one of the most challenging indie games I have ever played. And when I mean challenging, I mean challenging. With the hardest difficulty being named Gamer Mode, you know you're in for a tough time. The game is extremely hard in single player, but in multiplayer, some of your woes will be solved, but not all of them, as new challenges will arise when playing with your friends. When you spawn in, you'll have nothing, not even a rock. Your first few minutes of the game will be devoted to gathering rocks and wood to get some starter materials to get the ball rolling. After that, well, then it descends into chaos.
Wrong soundboard! Wrong sound!
Mobs start spawning, there are challenges to complete to get power-ups, and the most chaotic part, your friends accidentally spawning a boss. Yeah, you can spawn late-game bosses by just pressing E on a statue. No, he won't despawn, and yes, he'll keep chasing you and your friends around the map. Also, bosses spawn every 3 days, regardless of whether or not there's another boss on the map. You can have multiple bosses chasing you down across the map until you die or manage to somehow kill them. As you kill more mobs, you'll gather more coins, which allow you to unlock chests to get power-ups ranging from movement speed to increased health to even more attack damage. These power-ups can greatly improve your chances of surviving in Muck. There are also villages scattered across the map with traders that you can sell powerful items to get a jumpstart on the game. But be careful, if you loot their chests or hit them, then the whole village will do their best to kill you, and nothing will stop them. When you die, and trust me, it's when, not if, your items will explode out like a piñata, and you have to rely on your friends to come and revive you, which they can be unreliable at best in the revive department. And if you're by yourself, then it's just game over. Muck has no save system, and once you die, it's game over, and you have to restart the entire playthrough. When you die, any mobs that were chasing you will begin chasing your friends across the map. There's no way to get any mobs to de-aggro on you or leave you alone. When they catch your scent, they're locked onto you and your friends. To beat Muck, you have to defeat all of the gem guardians and then repair the boat to leave the island of Muck. While this sounds easy, the guardians are some of the toughest bosses in Muck, making it extremely hard to fight them even with late game gear. But with some coordination and sheer luck, you can take them all out. As the game progresses, the mobs will get more and more powerful, with some even having different abilities to terrorize you with. In the end, Muck is one chaotic, crazy game that can be an absolute blast to play with your friends or a hectic nightmare of terror and panic. Muck is free to play right now on Steam, so go muck around with your friends or take the challenge on by yourself and have some fun. Thank you for tuning in to Indiana Jonas, and I'll see you next week.
And that's the end of this episode of Gentoo. As I was saying, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications not to miss next week's highlight episode.
We hope you enjoyed this last regular episode of the season. We will see you again next week.
Good job, Garrett.
Good job, Jonas.
The door is open.
Oh no, it's okay.
They've been like in a drawer for like.
Oh, what a drawer of screws and like oil. Bro.